Anne's point of view. You sat there silently and spent your day like the other two past days of your life, just staring at a blank, colorless wall in the corner of the empty void. You had absolutely nothing to do, and you were starting to become relentless and empty. Like something was missing. Relentlessness and emptiness was the only thing closest to emotions you could feel recently. Other than that, it was it. Ever since colors started to fade from your small chunk of the empty void that you and ink called your own, you started to lose your emotion fairly fast. You first lost happiness, then sadness, then anger, and then lost the rest soon after. You should be missing them, but it was kinda impossible to because of the simple fact you were emotionless now. But still depends that you almost wanted to stay like this. Because it was way easier. Nothing could hurt you like this. You shifted around restlessly as you sat there with your legs crossed, staring at a blank white wall, shifting your weight from side to side as your restlessness tried to find out what exactly it wanted to do with itself. Then you started to think about how Ink, he was always there to comfort you when you were lonely. When you still had emotions, you remembered that he promised that he was going to visit you today, in the anti-void today, or sometime very close to today. You wondered what he would react like when he saw you like this, an almost completely emotionless house sitting in the corner by themselves, a completely different person than Ink was expecting and knew. This thought only made you more relentless, causing you to shift around more, so intense of waiting any longer and dealing with this restlessness. You decided to sleep it off till Ink gets back. You lazily started to walk towards the mattress that Ink made for you to sleep on, yawning a bit as you walked. You hadn't realized how tired you were while you were sitting. I guess is why you decided to sleep in the first place. You thought as you curled onto the fluffy mattress. You looked around you to find the sofa and once colorful rainbow blanket Ink made for you, as well draped over the side of the mattress. Lazily you promptly grab it, curling up in a fluffy warm ball. It was quite cold in the anti-void, which you didn't realize until you pulled the covers over yourself. You sighed. Why did it have to be so hard? Couldn't you just be calm for once? It was even harder to fall asleep because of the restlessness that haunted you. You weren't angry. You couldn't feel. But instead, you were asking a genuine question to yourself. You've never been like this before, other than 2 days, but you weren't used to this and weren't sure how to control the emotionlessness you had left. You slowly drifted into thought, from thinking about this and eventually slowly starting to fade away until everything was black. Ink's point of view. I walked through the portal that led to my chunk of the empty void, which I knew that I had left YN at in. Safely, I looked around first calmly but more frantically, as I realized black. I spread obvious shock, letting my voice that everything was colorful. When I left, I started to drag my hand over the now bare colorless walls to see if the paint got old and chipped off. I couldn't feel the dry paint texture there at all. It was just gone. And suddenly I looked down as I heard a loud crunch from under my feet. Dried, colorless paint chips all surrounding the floor underneath me. My eyes widened with shock. Something similar happened to the walls before when I kept the paint I used for the walls there too long. But the paint chips were never lost their color, neither did all the paint chip fall off the walls. Only small bits of it fell. At least not to mention I only painted the walls yesterday. But what else could explain this other than the paint being extremely old? I groaned. Guess I'll just have to deal with this later. I don't want to have to waste all my free time from working trying to fix the walls. Wait, was it just me? Or was I starting to feel like I was getting weaker and a lot more tired? I thought, but I soon shrugged this thought off and blamed it on the fact that I had spent all day trying to protect and fix AUs. It would make sense if I was extremely tired then. But I do this every day, and I've never felt this tired before. Never mind. You need to talk to YN. Dang it. Why you still had time to visit her. You snapped out a thought and then looked around the anti-void for them. Then my eyes caught sight of a peacefully sleeping YN, curled up in the not-so-rainbow-colored blanket I gave to them. I guess whatever happened to the walls happened to the items in this chunk of the anti-void too. Interesting. But this was really starting to get me worried. For some reason, something just doesn't feel right about this. I quickly wiped the slight concerned look off my face and closed my eyes. Mustering up the best excited smile I could, and pulled the covers from off of them. And pulled the covers off. And pulled the covers from off the warm, sleeping YN curled up on the mattress. Hey YN, I'm back. I excitedly said. I hope you didn't miss me too much. 'Cause I sure missed you, I said, smiling brightly with an obvious fake smile. I opened my eyes to see them slowly groan and turn their head towards me with a blank stare on their face. Then they replied in a monotoned voice, "Oh, it's just you, Ink," they said, almost too bluntly. Frozen. They were colorless. Their whole body was colorless. My face turned from a fake smile into a terrified look. As I looked into their gray eyes, they didn't seem to have any emotion in them. They just stared at me blankly like a zombie. I shuddered. YN, I stuttered. What happened to you?